Greetings, art connoisseurs, tubers, and pickers. It's Drew. Time for another installment of the CPMA, and that's the California Pickin Museum of Art, where I show you individual examples of fine art and antiquities from my own private collection. And this is fresh to my collection because I picked it up today. So let's go to it. This is a very fine, it appears to be dry point etching, which is done in a copper plate, where the artist scratches the surface of the plate and then prints it with ink. This is how he gets this incredible detail, but it ain't easy, and it's not done with a brush, and he probably pencil sketches it out. But this is a fine example, and it's by a listed American artist named Walter E. BOHL, B-O-H-L. And BOHL was born 1907, died 1990. He was born in Chicago. And he had a very interesting life. At age 23, he was working for Bell Telephone, and he got sick and had to basically stop working. And when he stopped working, he started doing pen and ink drawings. And he was quite an outdoorsman, loved to hunt and fish, and so his subject matter was involving wildlife and outdoor activities and what have you. And he started doing these pen and ink drawings, and somehow they ended up at Marshall Fields. Marshall Fields was an older department store that had all kinds of fine departments, and one of them was an art department, and the art director there liked what he saw, and he told BOHL that there wasn't much of a need for pen and ink drawings, but maybe he should do etchings. So then BOHL set out to do some of these etchings on his own, and it was early Depression, early 1930s, and so money was extremely tight, jobs were few, and to get any kind of art supplies, what he did was he basically used a darning needle and fashioned it into some type of, handle, had a handle on it, and that's how he used his own copper plates that he used to purchase and polish them up and scratch into them and cause this incredible detail. And this is an amazing example of Walter E. BOHL. And a lot of his work, as I said, was involving wildlife. There we see an original pencil signature and a very low count on the amount of prints that he made from this. This is number 27 out of 50. Which is very low run indeed. So I have one of only 50 of these exist in the whole world, which is pretty phenomenal. There it says Gloucester Fisherman, and below it in pencil, kind of lighter pencil, it says celluloid plate. I don't know exactly what that refers to, but the detail is amazing. I'm on macro setting. My camera's not the greatest. Trying to save up for a digital. Hopefully I can do that soon. And just bear with me until that time. But look at the detail. And he is just a master, self-taught artist. He was also a great watercolorist. And he did other types of artwork. So he was multidisciplined in terms of the medium he was using. And this was a yard sale find, guys. And it was wrapped in cellophane shrink wrap to this particular board. It was initially, I think it had some type of, it was maybe attached to a book or something at one time. So there we see the tabs up there. That's not too good in terms of, that's going to affect the value a little bit. I'll tell you guys how to pick up on an engraving and what an engraving is. An engraving is a plate that's been etched into and inked with ink and pressed down into a paper. And as I said, this guy BOHL used to run this thing through a clothes wringer. Anyway, you want to run your finger over, make sure your finger's clean, but when you see that little line around the piece, you want to run your finger over that. And if you feel a little line or an impression, that's what you want from an etching. If there's no line, then it's just a basic print that's done in another technique of printing, and not as good. You want an engraving. You want an engraving line around it. You want to see that little change in height. Whoops. Came off the attached board. Sorry about that. Let me just attach that. I just did a little quick tack for you for the video, so it wouldn't move around too much. That should be good. Now, BOHL was an interesting character. In 1930s, he started doing these etchings, and he participated in a show where there were 300 other artists. And one day, Eleanor Roosevelt, Franklin D. Roosevelt's wife, came through and bought 2 pieces of artwork, and one was a BOHL. And she paid all of $1 for a BOHL etching of, I think, geese or birds, possibly to give to her husband. Don't know where that piece is today, but that's pretty interesting. Soon after that, he was discovered by Esquire magazine in 1935, and then was commissioned to do all kinds of Esquire work. In every issue there seemed to be a Walter E. BOHL. So he had his big start, and Esquire gave him a big boost, and he was just an amazing artist, usually painting and doing etchings of wildlife, geese and ducks, and flora and fauna. But here we see him doing some fishermen pulling in the nets. They're faceless, but the detail's amazing, and when I saw it, I knew it was good. And as I said, I bought it at a yard sale. I'm not going to tell you what I paid for it, but it was a pretty good deal for me. I don't think they know what they had, but I do, and I went online and looked him up, and some nice values to some of his work. And I don't know enough about the artist to basically put a very accurate value, but I'd say this is somewhere, this is just an educated guess from what I saw, I'd say that this is anywhere from $300 to $400 engraving, signed by Walter E. BOHL. And he's in all kinds of museums, and he also designed a postage stamp for the United States Mail Service with ducks on them, and he's just the quintessential outdoor wildlife artist. He did a lot of watercolors, but he was mostly known for his engraving. So anyways, I thought that was very cool for a yard sale find. Now I want to show you this. I've had this frame for a long time, and I'm not saying this is the perfect frame for it, but you can just see what happens when you put a frame on something. Let's just try to get a shot of that. It's going to be hard to do this with one hand, guys. Sorry about that. Bear with me. Hopefully it won't fall apart. But you can see how that would pop. Now I'm in macro settings, so it's not going to be the best, but look what a gold frame does for that. And I'm going to do another video featuring some gold frames that just makes the artwork sing. I mean, look at that. It just, and that green is very cool. So I'm not sure if I'll put it in this frame, but it certainly would work. I don't know. We'll just have to see. But that's my Walter E. BOHL find for the day. Very cool. Tubers and art connoisseurs. So yeah, if you like that, if you like picking art, if you like learning about art, if you like seeing me find stuff, well, please subscribe, share on Google+, Facebook, leave your comments and hit like, and come on back to California Pickin Museum of Art. Keep on picking your fine art. Cheers.